Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with the No Mercy Go Home edition of NXT, which was presented at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida last night, broadcast live on USA Network. In the final segment, Trick Williams was named by Ava Raine as the special referee for Ethan Page's NXT title defense against Joe Hendry in the main event of No Mercy. Rosemary came from TNA Wrestling and challenged NXT Women's North American Champion Kalani Jordan, but came up short.
Kalani Jordan, we have to remember, was not prepared for this matchup. She did not know who she was going to face. But wait a minute, take a look. Oh, there it is! Yeah! And no matter if you're a demon or a walking zombie, Jordan proves she's one of a kind.
In the opening match, Fatal Influence defeated Meta-4. Oro Mensah and Lexis King got involved in a brawl after both came out at the end of the match. In other results, Joe Coffey pinned Javon Evans, Brooks Jensen pinned Malik Blade, the D'Angelo family defeated the No Quarter Catch Crew, and Carmen Petrovich defeated Izzy Dame. In ratings news, Monday Night Raw drew a viewing audience of 1.796 million viewers to USA Network, according to Programming Insider. That's up from last week's audience of 1.641 million. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a 0.57, also up from last week's demo rating of 0.50. Saturday's pre-recorded episode of AEW Collision drew a viewing audience of 442,000 to TNT, according to WrestleNomics. That's an increase of 36,000 viewers from the previous week's live episode. The rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a 0.13, holding steady with the demo rating for the previous week's episode. And we close with an update on the passing earlier this week of Sid Eudy, aka Sid Vicious. Eudy's son Gunnar elaborated on his father's death in a social media post yesterday, indicating that he had been diagnosed in 2021 with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was linked to exposure to Roundup weed killer. Eudy had not publicly disclosed the illness prior to his death. He had also been diagnosed with congestive heart failure and AFib in 2016. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.